And thank you very much to the organizers of BFSI Engineers Leader 2020 for inviting me for this session. I had a look at the agenda and the profile of the speakers, clearly a very interesting mix of speakers, not just from India, but across the countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. And I also happened to hear Ritesh for some time towards the end of what he was saying. And clearly, the work that NPCI is doing on the payments landscape is very noteworthy. But turning to my topic now, the topic was really about strategies for transforming a successful banking business. Honestly, this is a very loaded topic, and I'm not too sure how much justice I can do to this in the time that is available, but let me make a valiant attempt at that. Why do I call it loaded? If you read it, strategies for transforming a successful banking business, the topic requires us to dwell upon what exactly is a successful banking business and why and how does one transform a successful banking business. And I think the part that is important is why does one have to transform a successful banking business? It is often said that if something is not broken, why meddle with it? Why not just leave it as is? A successful banking business could be treated like that, right? If it is not broken, why even think about transformation? And that is where I think this topic becomes extremely relevant and important. Even in normal times, it is imperative for any successful business, not just a banking business, to continually transform itself to remain competitive and to overcome the changes that are happening in the economic environment. In today's pandemic oriented world, this becomes even more important because the world is changing so fast around us that change seems to be the only constant. And therefore, this whole transformation agenda becomes even more important. So, before I get to that, I think it's important to set the context in which we are living in right now. All of us are clear that we're living in quite uncertain times. What is really to be noted is that this is a very pervasive event. It is not confined to a couple of countries or a few geographies, a few segments of customers. It's impacted virtually everybody in some form and fashion. The impact of the pandemic, as they say, is wide, deep, and long. And as we stand right now, we're honestly not sure how long it will take. I just want to rewind a little bit to 2008. I'm sure most of us would remember the 2008 financial crisis. Anybody who's in the banking world would have probably lived through that crisis. And those were difficult times. What is important to note, however, is that in 2008, to a large extent, I think we can say that banks were the reason for the crisis. This time around, I think we can safely say that banks are not the reason for the crisis. Having said that, both 2008 and today, 2020, have had and will continue to have some very long lasting implications for the economy. And the only way to address those implications for the economy would be by banks intervening and doing what they need to necessarily do. And hence, the role of the banks becomes important. The world has become much, much more intertwined since 2008. And today, as we speak, who could have sat down and imagined that normal commercial travel is virtually non existent for the last 6 months and could continue for some more time? So, there are fundamental differences between 2008 and 2020, and perforce our actions should reflect that there are differences between the two crises. If I turn to the Indian banking scenario, obviously it's very clear that COVID-19 has had its impact on banks in India. On one set, there are financial implications. On the other, there are operational and human capital implications for the banking sector. From a financial standpoint, if one were to look at it, the single biggest risk that I think banks are facing, not just in India, but across the world, the risk arises from the potential inability of our customers to repay loans. And I use the term inability very carefully because it's not willingness or capacity to pay. I think it's just the inability to pay because of the economic environment that is there. Our customers are facing challenges on economic activity, whether they are salaried, self-employed, whichever category they belong to, they're facing challenges on just normal generation of cash flow. The Reserve Bank of India, the government of India, have taken several measures to mitigate these difficulties, whether it's in the form of infusing liquidity, the moratorium, the restructuring. There are several initiatives out there. Just a couple of days back, a range of and a slew of measures were announced. All of these have had banks play a very, very critical role in making sure the benefits of those reach the customers. And Federal Bank has also played its role in ensuring that customers get the benefit of these schemes. Time will tell how those will work out, and I'm sure the coming months will be critical for us to assess the impact of these initiatives. So, on one hand, there is the financial risk, and linked to the financial risk, banks have had to perforce look out for infusion of capital to shore up their capital position. While the financial risks are pretty well known and discussed widely across media, I think there are a couple of other aspects which probably people haven't spent as much time on. The first is on the people risk side of it. As a general category, banks have not been big users of work from home. It was always considered to be something that the technology providers, software providers would use. But having said that, through the pandemic, banks have become fans of this new way, and we've taken to this new way of working quite seamlessly. Having said that, the largest chunk of any workforce in a bank belongs to the branches, and these are customer facing people. You cannot really do that from work from home. You need to be where the customer is, and hence that has resulted in certain people risks, exposure to customers, heightened risk of COVID-19, need to make sure there is social distancing, need to make sure there are sanitizers and all that stuff that virtually 6 months back nobody thought would be a reality. Through this period, keeping employee motivation and morale up and sustained is not just a challenge for just HR colleagues, but for each and every line manager. And that's really where the people risk comes from. How do you sustain the motivation of a workforce through what are difficult periods? So that's one category of risk. The other category of risk is cybersecurity. As we've increased work from home, as we've had more and more people devoted to working from anywhere, actually, it has been an open opportunity for cyber criminals. They're likely to take advantage of any potential vulnerabilities in the infrastructure, in our defenses, spread things like ransomware, malware, and other cyber threat campaigns. So in addition to the fact that there is employees who need to be given remote login facilities, there is this ominous threat of cyber criminals, and banks like Federal Bank are doing a range of activities in this area to mitigate the risks. So it's against this backdrop of the financial risk, the people risk, the cybersecurity risk, and generally what is happening from a pandemic standpoint, it is against this background that I want to bring in the topic of how can a bank sustain itself? More importantly, how can a bank transform itself? I can only relate to a very large extent to Federal Bank, the bank that I represent, and therefore I will be speaking extensively about what we in Federal Bank have been doing against this backdrop. Let me start off by saying there are no silver bullets to transformation. Transformation is a journey, and yes, there are periods when it has to be accelerated. There are periods when it potentially does not have to be accelerated. As we live today, we are in a space where banking transformation has to be accelerated, and Federal Bank prides itself on being in the forefront of that acceleration. Based on the experience within the bank and my own personal experience, there are 4 things that stand out for me. The first one is communication and alignment across the organization. The second is innovation. The third is discipline and focus. And last but not the least is sachetization and customization. I'll talk about each one of these in a little detail to give you a better perspective of what exactly I mean by these. But there are 4 things, and there could be several other attributes, but I've picked up these 4 because I think they're the most relevant in the times we live in to transform our business. The first one is communication and alignment across the organization. Even in normal times where there is no pandemic, there are no crises of any kind, communication and alignment across the organization is absolutely important. The importance of it gets even more heightened in today's times when you have people working from home, people in remote locations, where the ability to have kind of face-to-face interactions is limited very largely through social distancing norms and other things. The entire spectrum on communication and alignment becomes that much more important, and it is a clear imperative. Let me give you a couple of examples of what Federal Bank is doing in this space. The first is Every week, we actually have a blog written by our MD and CEO under the CEO Speaks forum, and it is used in our internal kind of Yammer that communication platform that we use. Um, our CEO has been doing that extensively for about 3 odd years right now. And this Yammer platform has been used very extensively to communicate across the length and breadth of the organization. So every Sunday, an actual post goes out from him. And the posts are very reader friendly. They're not theoretical, they're very practical. They're about things that have happened on the previous week, any snippet that has been picked up from the post, any book that has been read, all designed in a form and fashion that makes it very easy for the 12,500 odd people to read and relate to. So it's very, very practical insights in terms of what needs to be done. And through this communication platform, the alignment increases. Everybody is then focused on the goal that we need to achieve for the organization as a whole. And what is important also to note is that this is not a one-way traffic, because the way the platform is used is it's a very interactive two-way platform. So once the post goes out, there are responses on it, there is feedback on it, there are questions asked, there is sometimes like banter that is done, all of it within this protected environment of Yammer, and it creates enough alignment across the organization. So that's one thing that we've done. The second thing we've done is we've introduced something called the Ask Me series, which is again on a Microsoft platform called Teams. So every week we have one of the senior functionaries by rotation actually hosting a talk show on the platform. And we have people who log in from across the country. They can ask any question what they want, anything about, what are we doing from a credit standpoint? What are we doing from deposits? What are the new products we are launching? What are some of the process changes we are bringing out? So, by rotation, the senior management takes its role and does this as the Ask Me series. Both of these, the weekly posts on Yammer, the weekly Ask Me series by senior functionaries, we believe both these playing a very, very important role in ensuring that the organization has aligned itself to the goal of transforming the business. It should be noted that because of the absence of physical interactions, these become even more important. Otherwise, people could be working in a vacuum without really knowing where the organization is going and how it's going. In normal circumstances, there would have been some travels, there would have been some town halls, there would have been various other means of communicating with our employees. And I believe that communication and alignment across the organization is a single largest imperative to transform a successful business. The second one is innovation. And this actually is a very interesting topic, because a lot of people would tend to believe that when you're going through things like a pandemic, when there is a crisis, should you actually be innovating? Should you be doing something which is, kind of to some extent destabilizing? Should you be trying anything new? I think nothing can be farther away from the truth. This is the right time when organizations should and must galvanize themselves to innovate. First of all, customer preferences are changing, and there is nothing better than making sure we continually innovate to deliver on these customer expectations. A federal bank has always prided itself on innovation, and digitization has been one area where innovation has reigned supreme. Federal Bank believes and practices the philosophy called digital at the fore, human at the core. Let me just repeat that, because I just want to kind of emphasize what it stands for. Digital at the fore, human at the core. What it really means is that we will ensure at every point in time we have the ability to provide all the digital capabilities that a customer needs. At the same time, we pride ourselves on the fact that there is a human relationship and there is a value to that human relationships. So our branches, our relationship managers are all available from a customer standpoint. Digital migration, which is moving transactions away from physical branches to digital channels, has always been a key objective of our digital strategy. Prior to this entire pandemic, about 80% of our transactions were happening in a digital fashion. Today, it's gone up to 92%, and we do believe there is opportunity to improve it further, which we're continually working with customers about. But let me give you 3 examples of things we did during the pandemic under this whole umbrella of digitization with an innovation streak in mind. The first one was Fed Swagat. As I said before, the bank believes and practices in this entire philosophy of digital at the fore, human at the core. So during the pandemic, we realized that there were instances where customers had to come to the branch. It may have been to complete some documentation. It may have been to kind of either deposit or take something out from their lockers. It may have been to avail a gold loan. Some activities, but perforce, are such that you do need to come to the branch. Now, with social distancing norms in place, what ended up happening was customers would come and potentially have to wait outside because we had norms that not more than 5 people can be in the branch at any point in time. And therefore, we realized that we needed to do something to make sure customers did not have to wait outside. And that's where we launched Fed Swagat. I'm sure all of you are familiar. Swagat means welcome in Hindi. Customers, what this provides is customers have an ability to take an appointment and then they come to the branch at the appointed time, and therefore they don't have to wait. So when they come, they have a token number that they tell the person at the entrance, and they're allowed into the branch virtually immediately. I think this is truly reflective of our entire philosophy of digital at the fore and human at the core. The second capability we launched during this period was a slightly different side of Fed Swagat, which we call vMeet. So this is kind of the other side of it. This is a video conferencing capability that we launched to allow customers to connect with relationship managers. Customers are spread across the length and breadth of the country, and yes, Federal Bank has a very large number of non-resident customers. Typically, during this period, when there are holidays, etc., they tend to come home. They tend to come to India. They tend to do their banking transactions at that time. But in today's pandemic world, obviously, they're not able to travel. And therefore, the vMeet capability enables them to actually connect with their RMs through a very secure video conferencing. So it's not a general mass market video conferencing capability. It's a very secure one, the data being protected, and therefore they're able to discuss confidential matters also through it. So this is another example of digital at the fore, human at the core. A third example, mobile banking is obviously very critical and is very important. The bank has always had a very good mobile banking platform. With smartphones, internet penetration, etc., becoming so ubiquitous, and customers are increasingly demanding a range of services from their bankers and from the mobile banking platform. And therefore, we use this opportunity to kind of enhance the capabilities we have on mobile banking and launch a brand new version of it that packs in a lot more features and benefits when compared to our other platforms. So these are just three examples of things we've done during the pandemic that we believe are well poised to on the innovation and continuum and emphasize our entire focus on digitization. So the second attribute for a successful transformation of any successful businesses, don't rest on what you have. Innovation is key. React to what is happening in the environment and deliver capability for that. The third is discipline and focus, and this is an attribute that sometimes doesn't get its due share of importance. So, a lot of people think that if you're a very, if an organization with a focus on innovation, maybe discipline and focus is not so important. Nothing can be farther away from the truth, because even during the times when you're innovating extensively, there is a need to make sure there is underlying discipline and focus. And in these difficult times that we live in, this becomes even more important. There are tons of distractions out there. It is very easy to get swayed by them. And this is where discipline and focus comes in. Again, a couple of examples from Federal Bank. As I said before, bankers are not necessarily well known for work from home or work from anywhere. What we did in Federal Bank was we used this opportunity of the pandemic to actually roll out a formal structured program for work from anywhere. We probably are one of the only banks to do it. What this does is it balances the key imperatives of flexibility for the employee, while at the same time ensuring there is safety and security of banking transactions, which is absolutely, as all of us would relate to, imperative for our transactions. So, in the absence of this framework, we could have ended up being quite ad hoc about how we took decisions on work from anywhere. And that's where the discipline comes in, the fact that we spent that time to get that framework in place and make sure we use that framework to enhance our entire decision making around work from anywhere. The second one where there is a lot of discipline and focus is this continual attention to business continuity. All through this period, we've had very rigorously and diligently, the crisis management team has been meeting every week, has been taking stock of the situation, understanding what needs to be done, what course corrections need to be made, what changes need to be made. And through this period, we have been continually also testing our disaster recovery capability on systems so as to ensure that no issues arise. So the real point I'm making is that any successful business, and more so a successful banking business, which is working through a difficult economic environment as we are doing right now, cannot afford to be defocused. Getting the priorities right and focusing on them is imperative. So that's the third attribute. So I spoke about the first one about communication and alignment across the organization, the second about innovation, the third about discipline and focus on priorities. Last but not necessarily the least, I must admit, is sachetization and digitization and bespokeization or customization. I must admit I have borrowed this from my CEO and can be a little bit of a strange one, sachetization and bespokeization. And let me spend a couple of minutes explaining what I mean. Sachetization, I think the credit for this should actually go to the FMCG industry and notably to shampoos. I'm sure most of us in the audience would remember the introduction of the small packets of shampoo, which were costing only 1 rupee. You might be wondering what is the relevance of that to banking. It is very relevant, particularly to the times we live in. Given the general uncertainty in the economy, it is clear that people are right now looking to take what I call smaller decisions in life. As an example, you will find that smaller vehicles are selling more than big ones. Short 2-3 day trips over the weekends are becoming more important and more prevalent than longer trip vacations. Smaller homes, purchase of two-wheelers, general trend seems to be, since the economy is going through some turmoil, you take decisions that are more sachet oriented rather than large scale. So, in line with that, we've done a couple of things that we believe writes to the whole example of sachetization. So, one of the examples we've done was we've actually introduced a product where a customer, based on certain algorithms that we have in our database, has been chosen as a pre-approved customer, and the customer can actually buy a two-wheeler by just depositing rupee 1 and paying the rest in installments. That's an example of where we've done sachetization. Another example, somewhere in July, June-July timeframe, we actually introduced a campaign to encourage customers to save via a very, very traditional product called recurring deposits. Small amount of deposits made every month. That was the philosophy we kind of propagated with customers. And honestly, we were surprised at the sheer number of accounts that got opened, about 3.5 times of what we earlier thought were our projections. Both are examples of where sachetization, small, immediate use have become relevant. So if one end of the spectrum is sachetization, the other end of the spectrum is actually bespokeization or customization, creating bespoke solutions for the customer. These are really unique products and features designed and customized for uniquely for customers. I spoke about things like Fed Swagat, VMeet, etc. But another example of what we've done to customize things is a completely new segment for high net worth individuals. We call it Celesta. It actually celebrates families, celebrates relationships, and it comes packed with a range of features. It is an offering from the bank to our valued customers. So, sachetization and bespokeization, the power of small at one end and the power of customization, are two powerful concepts that we have introduced into this transformation journey that we are going in. I'm certain that there will be many, many more attributes or tenets of how you can transform a successful banking business. In the limited time available, I have covered just 4 of what has worked for Federal Bank. Communication and alignment across the length and breadth of the country, ensuring that the innovation quotient is dialed up considerably, partnering that innovation with discipline and focus, and unrelentless emphasis on key priorities. last but not the least, combining the power of small through sachetization with the power of uniqueness to cater to the varying needs of the customers. So I do hope I have been able to give you an overview of some things that have worked for Federal Bank. I'd like to end by saying once again, thank you very much to the organizers for inviting me, and thank you to the entire audience for listening to me. All the best for the rest of the conference. Thank you.